Hello, folks. Welcome to episode 3 of Cricket Fantasy Experts. And in part 3 today, we plan to cover three more teams. We might just call them minnows, but ignore them at your own peril. So, the teams that we are talking about here are Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and Netherlands. And we'll quickly start with Bangladesh. Uh, Patil, over to you.
Sure. I don't think Bangla fans will like being called minnows, but I think this is a team that has honestly frustrated more than they've given joy. Continuing from the last episode where we covered Sri Lanka, this is, I think, the second half of the Nagin rivalry in the Asia Cup. But I think for the amount of love Bangla fans have given, I think the team has often flattered to deceive, and that's been the problem with this team. I think in recent times, including the team selection, there have been a lot of off-field issues. I think Tamim Iqbal is probably, in my opinion, the greatest batter Bangladesh has ever produced, and he should have made the trip to the World Cup, injuries notwithstanding. And the team has often like been quite temperamental, including their talisman Shakib at the helm right now. But they have the potential to turn it around. The conditions are known to them, extremely familiar. It may not spin as much as it does in Bangladesh, but I still think this is a team that's suited for the conditions that they're going to face in India. And the bowling, I think Alan Donald has done a phenomenal job. We saw it when the Bangladesh team won the Under 19 World Cup as well. But a bowling stock of Taskin Ahmed leading with the Fizz there and the graduates of Shoriful. I think it's been a great bowling attack. Not to forget Shakib and Mehdi Hassan Miraj in the bowling section. I think it's one of the strongest bowling attack. I know these are big words, but I think it's a phenomenal bowling attack. The batting, however, remains suspect for me outside of Shakib, who's likely to remain the linchpin. And I have high hopes from Najmul Shanto. He's an upcoming batter, and I think he'll do really well in this World Cup. The other player I'm genuinely excited about is Mehdi Hassan Miraj. India has been at the receiving end in a couple of matches, but I think this guy has the potential to replace Shakib. Shakib has been an absolute legend and probably like the greatest cricketer Bangladesh has produced. But I think Mehdi Hassan Miraj has the potential to become the next Shakib. So my view on Bangladesh would be play to the strengths, try and bowl first in helpful bowling conditions, especially in day-night games where chasing might become a bit easier under the lights. So try and bowl first, try and restrict teams to a reasonable total, which they should be able to do given their bowling, which will take some burden off their batting. And to the extent possible, try and avoid any off-field issues. In terms of starting 11, I've gone with, of course, Litton will open. I have chosen the rookie Tanzid Hassan to open with him, and then Najmal at number 3. Shakib comes at number 4. I saw Hridoy in the Under 19 World Cup, and then very recently at the Asia Cup. I'm immensely impressed by him, and I would like to play him ahead of Mamadullah as well. And then Mushfiqur at 6, I think, who's found a new lease of life. Then there's Mehdi Hassan, and there is Mehdi Hassan Miraj. I think Mehdi Hassan Miraj can probably bat up the order as well if required. I've kept him at number 8, which is more than I think. He does more than justice to that position. Followed by Taskin, Fizz, and Sharif, also slightly longish tail from number 9, but I think that's something that they'll have to live with. In terms of run scorer, just because I wanted to pick someone who's not Shakib, I've gone with Najmal Hussain Shanto. And wicket taker, I think Taskin is has been the leader of the attack for quite some time now, and it's been really a great pleasure to watch him. Projected finish, I think Bangladesh will struggle. They do have the talent to spring probably one surprise in them. I will like be surprised if they are able to pull off more than one. So that's my take on Bangladesh. They'll of course give a close fight to a lot of the teams, but crossing the line, I think, will be a tough ask for them. One surprise is what I expect of them. I would hand it over to Akshay now for Netherlands.
So thanks, Sumit. Uh, so Netherlands, like I wouldn't be too harsh if I call them minnows, to be honest. But I feel that Netherlands, the biggest strength of Netherlands would be the fact that they come here at the World Cup with zero expectations. I don't think they are expected to spring a lot of surprises. But having said that, like looking at their journey while making the ODI World Cup, I think they've put in the hard yard, went past teams like West Indies and Zimbabwe in the qualifiers, which is no mean a feat, knocking out two-time world champions and two-time T20 world champions in a World Cup qualifier is no mean a task. So that's something which will give them a lot of confidence. But still, they like for the quality of side that they have, I don't expect them to spring a lot of surprises. In my opinion, the I would have probably given them a chance to win one game had that game against Afghanistan happened on a good flat deck. But if I'm not wrong, I think that game is planned at Lucknow, and with the kind of spin that Afghanistan has, it would be a really tall ask for Netherlands to make that upset as well. So I hardly see them springing a lot of surprises. But having said that, if I have to just look at Netherlands as a team standalone, it's a team of all rounders and some legendary all rounders. If I have to look at, if if these all rounders would have been groomed by some of the big teams, they might have become superstars here. But I'm talking about Bas de Lida. I'm talking about Colin Ackerman. I'm talking about Vandimava, and I can't not talk about Van Beek, who was the architect of uh, defeating West Indies in that super over and even before that. So yeah, it's a team of all rounders, and from a fantasy lens, whenever you have Netherlands playing, probably you shouldn't forget to have at least two of these all rounders who might just give you points across batting as well as bowling. Uh, in terms of their weakness, I think they don't have that kind of experience to play in front of large crowds on Indian soil, Indian conditions. And in terms of the quality as well, I think they lack the quality to be incisive in terms of taking early wickets on flat decks or creating opportunities when there's nothing happening, and which is bound to happen on the wickets later in the later half of the year in Indian conditions. So I believe that that happens to be their weakness. Going by that, like if I were to talk about their top 11. I think it will be Vikram and Max who will open the attack for like open their batting, followed by Barisi, and then they have Bas de Lida, Teja, Colin Ackerman, and Scott Edwards, their captain. Then in their bowling department, I think Rolof Vandimava, their superstar spinner who has earlier played for South Africa, uh, and Van Beek, who would be their like number 8 and number 9, and the number 10 and number 11 would be Van Mikren and Aryan Dutt. So that's the 11 for me from a Netherlands lens. I hardly see them springing a surprise, but for someone who's an eternal optimist, probably they can draw inspiration from the fact that they were the team to knock out South Africa from the last T20 World Cup, and they were the ones to defeat England in the 2009 T20 World Cup as well. So for someone who's an optimist, I think they can look back to those episodes and hope that Netherlands brings a couple of surprises and plays a party pooper for the rest of the teams. That's about Netherlands. So over to you, Sattam, for Afghanistan.
Thanks, Akshay. Um, Afghanistan, actually, looking at the talent that the team possesses, I feel a bit disappointed because of the lack of exposure that they have. They have enough expertise, they have temperament, they have experience, and also a lot of promising youngsters. Probably the only thing that the team lacks is uh, good good amount of exposure to full member nations, and I think that is going to be their biggest weakness coming into the World Cup. At the same time, they are a very strong side, and again, going by the recent uh, Asia Cup matches. They were on the verge of creating a couple of upsets, which I think will be the trend of continuing into the World Cup. They definitely will spring a few upsets, but I don't see them finishing into the top four. Uh, Having said that, Afghanistan probably, or not probably, Afghanistan has the strongest spin attack coming into the cup with Rashid, Mujib, and Nabi, and if possible, Noor also playing on certain pitches. But I doubt they will go with four spinners. As I said, apart from exposure, probably balance is a concern for them because they do not have good consolidators or people who can stay on the wicket for a longish time, kind of time frame. Um, and the major hmm, the major threat that I see for this team is that probably they might struggle to bat out all the 50 overs because most of their players have a decent amount of T20 exposure in IPL and in a few leagues. So I find that they might get bowled out before the 50 overs, and at the same time they do not have good seam bowlers or pacers to speak of. Coming for the starting 11, I would pick Gurbaz and Zardan to open, followed by Shah and Shahidi at 3 and 4th, then Najibullah at 5 and Nabi at 6. Maybe we can interchange Nabi at 5 because he would like some time to settle down given his temperament. I would like to pick Omar Zai as the third pacer and the number 7 batsman because he's a promising young talent, followed by Rashid at 8, Mujib at 9, and Faruqi at 10. And to finish with, most likely Naveen ul Haq because you have three quality spinners. Maybe once in a while, Noor might get a look in, but that risks that uh, you probably will have only one decent pacer in your lineup. So that's my take. Hoping that they will finish at least in the top eight. Yeah,
Thanks,
that's it.
Satyam. That's it from today's episode, guys. See you soon.